Goes it, everyone. It's Chris Agos, the seriously non-famous actor, and today we're talking about getting cast in one of the Chicago shows on NBC. If you're a Chicago-based actor, or even if you're an actor anywhere else and you want to get cast on one of these shows, stick around because there are some strategies for how to do it, and they can apply not only to the Chicago shows, but also other TV shows as well. So hang out with us for a few minutes, we'll get right to it. So early in season 2 of Chicago PD, I snagged a role for an audition of an assistant state's attorney on the show. Now, I had already appeared as a different character on Chicago Fire, and at the time, the shows had a rule. If you had done one episode of Fire or PD, because Med wasn't around yet, you had to wait 2 seasons until they cast you again, because both stories occupy the same universe. I mean, they didn't want the audience to be like, wasn't that sever-eyed surgeon from last season? How come he's a lawyer now? It was a small role and it recurred, so I figured that was a good thing. I also figured I wasn't going to get that job because of my previous role on Chicago Fire. Long story short, I did book it and I shot over 20 episodes. I got cut out of 3, but whatever, that happens. So it was a great job. Nobody gets a job like that alone. It takes a team of people to stack the dominoes just right, and it's up to the actor to tip that first domino in their audition. If you're a local Chicago actor, being on one of these shows is like a rite of passage. How can you increase your chances of getting cast on one of these shows? No guarantees, but there are a couple of things that you can keep in mind. For one thing, the shows are all union. They hire everyone under SAG-AFTRA agreements. So you have to be with an agent so that they have access to that audition. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to be a union actor in order to get cast on these shows. Plenty of non-union actors do get cast. Your agent also needs to have a good relationship with the casting directors for that show. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly who that is because frankly, you need to do some of this work on your own. If you don't know how to find out who casts those shows, here's a trick. Go to IMDb, look up Chicago Med or Chicago PD or Chicago Fire, better yet, look up all 3 separately, and click on the full list of cast and crew. Scroll down to casting and find the entry for Chicago casting, and there's your name. Also, shoot your agent a note that you are interested in being submitted for that kind of work. Why? Maybe your agent doesn't know that. Agents don't read minds. They have to know that you're interested in a certain type of work. If they don't know, they can't help you. While we're on the subject of agents, I do want to touch on one thing that I found to be very important in the actor-agent relationship, and that is you need to have an advocate in the agent's office. I've been with plenty of agents who just don't seem that into me, but I've also been with agents who are very excited to work with me and help me out. You need to have one person in the office who will be your advocate with casting directors. So develop a relationship with one person because that one person can make a huge difference. So here's another thing. Casting loves theater actors, but you have to be willing to modify your performance for the camera. If casting has never met you, they're going to look at your resume, they're going to see you've done a bunch of theater, they're going to be like, that person can act. Then you have to fit the character breakdown. If you do, they might call you in, especially if you have an agent advocating for you. And then it's all about what happens in the room. The acting has to be appropriate for the medium and the genre you're auditioning for. So if you do your scene shouting like you're reaching for the back row of a 200-seat theater, that's not appropriate for what you're auditioning for. If you ham it up like you're in a multicam comedy, you're gonna lose that booking. You're gonna look uneducated, so don't do that. The Chicago shows are all hour-long dramas, so generally in these shows, the less acting you do, the better. Subtlety goes a long way, unless of course the character is written as shouting and being loud. These shows are procedurals, so they focus on telling the story of how cops, doctors, and firefighters go about getting their jobs done. And if you're unknown to casting, you're probably going to be auditioning for small functionary roles. These roles are there to push the story along. This is your time to be a team player. So don't do that thing where you're like gonna do something crazy just to stand out. The way you stand out is by following the roadmap that the writers give you in the script, showing up on time, and doing an audition that makes sense for what you're auditioning for. So in the end, it really comes down to your audition. Stay true to the breakdown, follow the roadmap the writers gave you in the script, relax and have fun. You may not book the job, but you'll book the room. And that's what you want to do because they'll bring you back. I have a friend in Los Angeles who auditioned for NCIS over and over and over again until he finally landed it. He booked the room every single time. And when it came time that the role was really right for him, he booked that job. So if you found this informative, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be posting more videos. We're going to talk about all kinds of acting and voiceover related subjects. So I don't want you to miss out. Thanks for watching.